All right, Scorp. So the big time message here with all of your cards that you're pulling, and we'll get into the dark mirror here in a second, but every single one of them is talking about the past and you going back to the past, but going back to the past in a way that is not healthy for you. But what I want to say here is, we all do it. We all go through the memories of what we've experienced and then try to replay in our mind a different way that things could have went. But what I want to say to you here is it had to happen that way. I feel like that's important for you to know. It had to happen the way that it did. And now it's time for you to go with the flow of what is happening in your life in the present moment. Because these are the places you have already been. They don't need to be revisited anymore. And you can't continue to do the coulda, woulda, shoulda. So a moment's regret, nostalgia, idealizing the past, fearing you've made a mistake, and to the sea. Now, to the sea kind of bothered me a little bit because I thought immediately, well, the depths. And that's what Scorpio does. We go into the depths, and when we go dark, we go all the way. But like I've always said to you guys, don't stay in the dark too long. Don't stay in the depths of something for too long. Now, a moment's regret. It says second guessing your decision, berating yourself for the choices you've made, feeling regretful and missing what was. Nostalgia, living in the past, a focus on what is going wrong or what could still go wrong. But rather here, the advice is to the sea is saying that you need to stop resisting. Just go with the flow of things. Let things happen naturally and don't fight against the things that cannot be changed, especially in regards to the past. So the essential meaning says being in the flow, returning to source, and recognizing how pieces fit together, a natural pattern of events. And that's where I feel like it's important for you to know that what happened had to happen the way that it did. And I love the little saying that is going to be important for you here with this one. It talks about an old-time mariner saying that applies to you now. When fishermen cannot go to sea, they stay home and repair their nets. So if you feel like you can't go with the flow on things, then I feel like the message there is you need to take your attention on the things that you can work on, not the things from the past that have already happened and are done and over with. So it may feel like you're blocked from moving forward, but it's really, up to you. It's up to you on whether or not you want to be able to go with the flow on things, or if you want to continue to go back to the past and think about how things could have played out. But the thing is, like I said, right? It had to happen that way. It was meant to be that way. You may not feel like that there was something else that you could have done to change things, but no. But it's all leading up to you being able to kind of, like I said, go with the flow on things and things happening a little bit more naturally and a little bit more easily. But the focus has to come back to your present moment. And it's funny because with this one, it's almost exactly the same message. So going dark here. Alone in the world, the moon phase is the third quarter. The stage is acceptance. So needing to accept what will not return. But it also says, in solitude I stand, in solitude I may shine. So this is taking advantage of the fact that you are now alone and taking advantage of that solitude to find peace of mind in it and the acceptance. So going dark, it says, waiting for something to come back. When we parted ways, we promised to each other, I will wait for you and I will come back. We may have used different words like it's just for a few months, or a sharper pen like I don't need you. Still, we are waiting. Mind has lost hope. Body has lost memory, but our heart is still incomplete. It is shrined into a blessed feeling of longing and desire, innocence and hope. But it is also entombed into a well of solitude and distance. It built walls to stall the passage of time, and the walls kept out everything. Will the prince come, or has the world gone silent while we waited? Waiting is a transition. It has a beginning and it has an end. Waiting is the night. Morning brings the sun of a new day. It's not going to come back. But it wasn't meant to come back because it's not worthy of you, right? But this is needing to accept now the solitude that you are in and making the most of it, like I said, to find acceptance and peace. All right. Here's your overall. The Ace of Pentacles. Perfect. So there is a new opportunity here, We're talking about something that is realistic, something that is practical and long-lasting. Something that is going to bring you continued growth. But this is an opportunity that you need to take advantage of. Or this may be an opportunity that you just don't want to deal with right now or are not seeing. It just depends here. Now, in the past, the Ten of Swords, well, yeah. I mean, given everything that we just went through, it makes sense. So the Ten of Swords is the past, dealing with something that ended very painfully. And, you know, it's funny because go to the sea, and then the Ten of Swords. What I like about this one with this image is I think that this is more accurate for the Ten of Swords than what it would be for the Six of Swords. So traditionally, the Six of Swords, one of the things that it talks about is like barely keeping your head above water. But it makes more sense that that's how you would feel after having been through something that was devastating, something that ended in that kind of a way, right? And again, not needing to drown in the depths here, you know, because you're still looking at an opportunity here for something better with that Ace of Pentacles. In the present, the Wheel of Fortune. This, to me, you know, depending on what's going on in your environment, given the fact that we're looking at a really painful ending in the past, is almost like looking at things going, it just keeps going. It just keeps going, right? I do believe that there are times where fate kind of steps in and you look at it and you go, wow, I wasn't expecting that, right? It may seem like it's fated, but really there is no fate but what we make for ourselves, right? A little bit of Terminator there for you. A lot of times we feel like we are not in control of our fate, that shit just happens to us, which is why the Wheel of Fortune represents the ups and downs in life, right? And also repeating cycles, things coming back around. But the hope here with the Wheel of Fortune being in the present moment, like I said, depending on what's in your environment, is that fate is turning it in a different way now. Because you've already experienced an ending. Now it's time to look at the new beginning with the Ace of Pentacles, but it depends on how you view your wheel. Is it fortune coming to you, or is it just shit happening to you? Okay. Future conditions, Temperance. And this is really about you needing to get back to a place where you feel like you have that inner balance, that equilibrium, not, you know, veering so far to the right or to the left. You know, the nice equal flow. But I also look at this and think that for some of you, it's like I need to find my own personal reserve here and not test the waters. I need to look at what is going to be practical for me in terms of a new beginning. You know, with that Ace of Pentacles being there, but it's like you're trying to reserve yourself here with Temperance, you know, and find some balance so that we're not repeating cycles with the Wheel of Fortune. Your best path to follow, the Knight of Wands. It's funny because Libra was definitely going toward this in their future conditions, but it really depended on another person. In terms of you, it's like you have to get up. You've got to get up and you have to continue to act with passion. You have to act towards the things that you have passion with, right? But then there's also needing to pay attention to the consequences of actions, especially if those actions have led you to a place where you're looking at the Ten of Swords and having these painful, difficult endings, right? So a little bit of accountability on what you choose to act toward. But I also feel like what you've experienced shouldn't damper you to the point where you won't take advantage of opportunities that are better for you than what you have taken advantage of in the past that led to the painful ending. You know, but we'll see here. Oh boy. Oh geez. Scorpio, the hell is going on in your environment? The Tower. But this is nothing new to you. And that's what I'm getting from this. With the Tower being in your environment and looking at it connected to the Wheel of Fortune, it's the same shit. This is the same fucking thing that I've seen before. I know what this is. I've been through this cycle. Is it changing this time, though, for the better? And with the Ace of Pentacles, absolutely, it can be suggesting that, but there is a part of you here that is trying to chill out. Let me just gain my composure here, even though something may have happened to you that was like sudden and abrupt. That, or we're talking about, action that you have taken. But the thing is I'm looking at it connected to your past, okay? So with the Ten of Swords being connected to what is in your environment now, things may have drastically changed that led you to a place where you didn't want it to be over with. But the thing is go back to the traditional meaning of the Tower. It's fake bullshit to begin with. There's a reason why it needs to come down. But like I said, with the Wheel, it's like, this is nothing new to you. So I don't feel like there is, this feeling of needing to absorb a shock. That doesn't affect you. That part of it is not affecting you. It's the whole problem here is that you didn't want to have this come down the way it did, I think, because it's so painful with the Ten of Swords. But you're doing it again. And now you're creating another Tower moment. But the thing is you're changing, though. I think really with Temperance, you're like, I can't do this again. I need to get back to a place of inner balance. Wow, man, the hell, Scorpio, is going on? Okay, your hopes and your fears, the Eight of Swords. This is everything that is happening around you that's preventing you from making the most of a better opportunity for yourself. And that's all this is. The Eight of Swords being your hopes and fears. Those are the thoughts that are the devil. I point that out with this one because of the horns coming out, right? It's those negative thoughts that have a grip on you that make you feel like there is no way forward. It keeps repeating. And it's funny because you got like, the wheel in the background here too, even though it's a clock, right? It's all over the place. But it's really about, do you feel like I said, you're in control of what is happening this time? Are you taking control of that fate and destiny and saying, I'm getting rid of all of this and I'm changing, what is happening in my life? The problem is with the Eight of Swords it's still the thoughts. It's still those thoughts that, it's not the Nine of Swords, but it's enough to make you feel like if you make a drastic change, you're going to be stuck. Right? That, or you're stuck and you can't make a change here. But either way, like I said, it's like you're moving into this place with Temperance where it's like, I need to just chill the fuck out. I just need to chill out. This is nothing new. You've experienced this before, but it doesn't need to end as the Ten of Swords this time. The opportunity by far is much better with that Ace of Pentacles. But you can't do that to yourself. You can't continue to keep those kinds of thoughts with you, right? And a lot of that, I think, is what needs to change too with the Tower. But I still think that a lot of you are dealing with a situation here that you didn't want to have collapse the way that it did. And then coming out the World, perfect. It's perfect, right? As long as you chill out and you work on getting your equilibrium back here with Temperance, and you don't test the waters on anything that you've already seen before, you are going to get closure here with the World. You're going to get to a place where you have successfully made it through this chapter in your life. There's no going back here to these painful endings of the past. There are no more repeats this time. It's not going to happen. You've already seen this shit before. It doesn't need to happen again. And I still go back to the Knight of Wands, and I think that you need to have passion restored toward the things that you want to act toward. But again, there needs to be accountability toward action. You have to kind of follow through. Especially with that Ace of Pentacles being there, because that opportunity looks so good. So good. So much better than, what may be showing up for you in the present moment. Because like I said, it's like... And then the Page of Cups. So having your feelings restored, I feel like, and getting back to a place of like renewed hope and renewed feelings, but we're also talking about being able to communicate those emotions that you're experiencing now, instead of keeping them locked in your mind here with the Eight of Swords, and allowing that to prevent you from taking advantage of something better. Now, the Queen of Wands with the Ten of Swords, I look at that as you, right? And that is a chapter in your life that is coming to an end. With the Queen of Wands, I almost look at her as, beyond being super fun, super attractive, being able to manage everything, she also shows a brave face, even though behind the scenes there may be more going on that nobody else is seeing. And that makes sense to me when we're talking about Scorpio here. But this could definitely be because of a person that you're dealing with. But this chapter is definitely coming to a close. It's not about a new beginning with a situation that has already ended badly, that is over and done with. It's about the opportunity that is in front of you now, that is going to be better for you in the long run, once there is closure on a repeating situation, because I feel like that's what we're talking about here. But with the Queen of Wands and the Ten of Swords, that is not who you are anymore. And the person that you may have been involved with is not something that, you're going back to. That is definitely over and done with. Now, looking at the Empress, I feel like this is a better transition from the Queen of Wands, where instead of needing to put up this brave face of, I'm fine. Well, no, really, maybe you're not, right? Because Temperance is suggesting otherwise, because you wouldn't be needing to find that if everything was okay. So I feel like that is, almost the external of what you're putting out, what you want somebody to see or recognize about you. But when you move into the Empress, this is really about you getting to a place where you feel more comfortable with who you are versus who you were, who experienced a very painful and devastating ending. It has to happen. But it's for something so much better. I can't stress that enough. But with the Empress here, this is about being able to enjoy your life and enjoy the abundance of the beauty that is around you and recognize it and see it. So moving from the Queen of Wands to the Empress, I think is perfect, especially considering that we're talking about a tower moment here with the wheel. But this, I feel like, especially with the World, is the last time. It is the last time that you're doing this. But feelings start to be restored, and that's kind of what I feel like is going on here. Because with the World, we're still talking about you getting to a place where you are successful. You have successfully completed a chapter in your life. You have a brand new beginning in front of you, but that cannot take place until this is over with and you're not repeating this over and over again. But for you, once it closes, it's almost like the innocence is restored to you in the way that you feel with that Page of Cups. So you're making a beautiful transition out of this. And it's not that the Queen of Wands is bad. I don't doubt that, you have the ability to manage painful things and shocking, devastating things without a doubt. But it's more about you being able to enjoy your life now and being comfortable rather than continuously going through that kind of bullshit in the tower moments, And I feel like a passion for life again, new emotions being restored, feeling something new, and having that return to you, But your thoughts, though, I keep going back to that Eight of Swords, right? You need to clear that shit out, because if it continues to have a grip on you, then you won't take those steps that are necessary to keep yourself in check and gain that kind of closure. And then stuck. Yes, you have to reconnect with Spirit. Otherwise, you're going to continue to be stuck with something that continuously happens over and over and over again. You've already seen this shit before. It is time for you to make a drastic change. But I think a lot of this is based on whether or not you can keep yourself from, being tempted to get involved with this shit all over again. Because that's what I kind of feel like with Temperance. But you're learning, though. You're learning that this is not something that you need to continuously experience anymore. That there is something better. Assurance is saying that I want assurance. I want assurance that everything's going to be okay. But it is the universe telling you, don't worry. It's okay. Let this happen. It needs to happen the way that it's happening right now in order for you to move on to a different part of your life. But you need to reconnect with spirit, otherwise you're going to stay stuck. And that's basically what that's coming down to. And then taking shelter, the answers are within. And I see that as the hermit, right? Like I see that as needing to take that solitude. Finding peace within. The answers that you seek are within. Needing to take a moment to yourself here so that you can choose a different path. But know that you have an opportunity in front of you that is by far better than what you're experiencing or what you may choose to continue to experience in your life. Now it's time to look at the opportunities that are going to be realistic for you, the things that are going to be what takes you the long haul. Rather than playing this cycle of over and over and over again, dealing with the tower. But I know the feeling, because I do feel like I said before, that some of you did not want this to happen because of the devastation of the Ten of Swords. But yet you have an opportunity to go through it again. But there's a reason why that tower needs to collapse, right? Damn, man, Scorpio. It's okay. It's okay that this is happening. It needs to happen. It's happening for a reason. But take advantage of the solitude. And again, stop going back to the past, the coulda, woulda, shoulda, because it's not going to change what happened. And now it's time for you to stop resisting and go with the flow of what is happening now. But definitely give yourself a minute to step back and find those answers so that you can choose a better path.